It's May 13th, and 2019 has already claimed the fictional lives of Rick Grimes, Tony Stark, Cersei and Jaime Lannister, Sandor Clegane, Natasha Romanoff, and M. Night Shyamalan's hopes at a good trilogy. How much more can we take? At least Arrow is canceled. I'm Brandon Davis. You're watching Comic Book Now. Hello, Comic Book Nation. Welcome to Comic Book Now. How many times can we say comic book in an opening show on Comicbook.com? That's four. Hi, Chris Killian's here.
Hi, man.
I'm Brandon Davis. Call me BD. Welcome to the show.
Man, you just went ahead and called out Arrow in the opening.
I don't miss it.
No, I won't either. I'm just kidding. Arrow's terrible.
It was canceled for me like 4 years ago.
Say that out loud.
I'm not gonna...
Arrow's terrible.
Woo, that's not a good show. But we have a pretty cool show. We're gonna hate on a few things today, I think.
Yeah, I think probably.
Because I'm not really happy with Game of Thrones.
I know you are, and I'm also not happy, but I'm slightly happier than you are. You're angry about
I feel
it.
like I'm wasting my time. I'm just tired of speculation about who Idris Elba is going to play. But there's a new rumor for the Suicide Squad, so we'll talk about that. But let's get started with Game of Thrones. Honestly, my first question here, has the show fallen apart? Because I feel like it has taken everything we love about the show, and I don't mean like this in a I want a happy ending way. I mean it in a... like the Red Wedding, things like that, like plot twists, betrayals, things that made you love to hate the show, but you still had to watch. There were moments like that, and this show has taken all that and said, screw it. Here's who we got left, and here's who we're gonna have, and here's our action figures, and we're just monkey with cymbals smashing them together.
That, I mean, it's not that it's bad as much as I feel like it's too compacted. Like they're taking what essentially could be 2 or 3 seasons worth of material and they're squeezing it all into like one final season, and it feels kind of unearned is the biggest thing.
Like everything that's happened, I think it doesn't not make sense.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense in the time that, like, in the long run, these things could have happened. Dany could have turned. It was in her blood. We've seen like little shades of it along the way.
Right.
But we never got there. It was like somebody just was like, oh, we gotta do this thing real quick, and we only have 2 episodes. We gotta do it now. Like, we never did. We never really showed the turn.
Right.
And for a character who stood for so many good things for so long, for the things to fall apart as quickly as they did, I don't.
Yeah, that's what it is to me. It's just rushed. Where the show used to be very nuanced, it now it feels like you're watching a plot summary on Wikipedia. It's just like, these are the things, this and this and this and this happens, and there's no stretching it out.
I think the show could have benefited from having a couple more seasons.
Yeah, needed more breathing room.
So finally, also, spoiler alert, Cersei, spoiler alert, Cersei is dead.
Now this is the thing that infuriated me about the show. I liked the Dany turn didn't bother me as much, but Cersei's death and Jaime going back, it's like, it could have been. So we spent the whole show. I mean, Jaime literally went full circle. He started out as this guy who's like hooking up with his sister, pushing little kids out of windows, and he spends the whole show trying to redeem himself, trying to believe that he's a good guy, only to come full circle back to becoming the same guy that he was at the beginning. That's a terrible way to treat Jaime. I was like, what? He
did the full circle,
what
and then he went all the way back.
All the way back. All complete full circle back to the original character, which is horrible storytelling.
I mean, look, storytelling is one thing. If you want to say, like, it's realistic, I could see how Jaime, if he's really in love with this woman, he can go on to do that, but it's not rewarding to the audience. It just, like, I can understand that. I can understand what he did. You know, I'm not saying I would have done the same thing. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I've done dumb stuff for a girl that I've, like, loved or something, but I've never...
And Cersei did all that evil stuff only to be destroyed by construction. It's just not fair.
Tywin Lannister got killed by arrows on the crapper. That was a great moment. That's how you reward your audience, and you kill a supervillain.
Can I say the thing that I think nobody else is saying out there? Is it just me that Jaime was on this upward hill, like he was like, oh, Cersei's evil, I don't like her, I'm gonna do great, and then he hooks up with Brienne, and then he's like, nah, I'm going back to Cersei.
I have no comment.
I'm just saying, it's just that's how it happened.
I wasn't a huge fan of the Hound's death. I just feel like the Clegane Bowl was this hyped thing, and the show has hyped so many things, like the Night King, like the Clegane Bowl, and so like the fans maybe have made their own expectations. Maybe that's our fault. I don't know, but I think there were certain parts of Game of Thrones that have been hyped, none more than the Night King, that turned out to not have payoff. The Night King was pointless. I don't
Yeah.
care what you say. Night King was pointless. There was no point to this character. He was a plot device, which I thought was the purpose was to thin out Dany's army and make it harder for her to defeat Cersei. Turned out that was pretty easy to do, even with the army thinned out. Even down a dragon from the other pointless character, Euron Greyjoy. He was useless too.
They did make a big point about the fact that Dany's armies were depleted. She was down to one dragon, and so the stakes were supposedly set pretty high in Cersei's favor. And then they just breezed through that place. I mean, they didn't even break a sweat. It was kind of interesting when Jon and then we're walking through the gates. I mean, they're just sort of like side killing people. Like not even. It was nothing. It was like it was.
I'm seeing
a
lot of
battle.
A lot of mixed reactions here. Some people are loving. I'm reading the comment section right now. People loving it. People aren't liking it. Brancroft, Game of Thrones isn't important anyways. The show is trash. Johnny Meath, that's a hot take. I don't think the show is trash. But I just don't think it's as good as it once was. Dawn, Grey Day, Euron coming out of the water was cheesy. But then there's people who are defending it. People are saying read the books, things like that.
Well, the books aren't done, which is kind of the problem that we're having right now.
Yeah, you can't. So it's mixed bag. I'm not a huge fan. Let us know. Here, we're going to go away for 1 second. But first, I want Comic Book Nation, everybody in the comment section, let me know who you want to see end up on the Iron Throne. That's my pick, Arya Stark. I want Arya on the throne. Who do you think you want to see there, and who do you think will be there? Those are two different questions. Answer both of them. Coming up in just a few minutes, though, we're going to take a look at the weekend box office and other news trending now on ComicBook.com. But first, we sent our Megan Peters, our anime aficionado senior anime correspondent, to Japan to talk with Detective Pikachu himself, Ryan Reynolds. Check it out.
All right, so we're here to talk Detective Pikachu because this is Pokemon and there's basically nothing bigger happening right now than this movie. So what I need to know from you, Ryan, is how did you feel knowing that you were going to be joining this franchise, which has like so much history behind it? There's like 1,000 anime episodes that like blows the Simpsons out of the water. So like, how were you feeling when you found that out?
I was like a lot of things. I make it all seem sort of spur of the moment and cool, but I did a lot of like checking around. And the first thing they did was they had created a CGI Detective Pikachu, and they'd actually paired my voice with it to sort of see what it would sound like. It didn't have the kind of motion capture version of detail, like where they're capturing microfacial expressions, but it had enough that I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like, you know, super adorable, super cute little guy with like impatient, sort of acerbic voice. You know, I thought that was kind of a neat idea. And then I knew about Pokemon, but I didn't know that much about the nuance and the detail and stuff like that. So I sort of just missed it. I'm just at that age where I just kind of, so I checked it all out. It was fantastic. I mean, it's an amazing world, and I can't believe there hasn't actually been a live action movie before. I don't think technology had actually caught up to do it like this. So, so I was, you know, anytime you get to be kind of part of a sort of a pioneering sort of trip like this, it's pretty exciting.
This movie leaves a lot of questions, but I'm gonna be completely honest, the question that I left is I need to know what Pikachu's like go-to coffee order is. Like, what is it?
Oh.
I need to know because like that's what I'm drinking as soon as I get out of
Black
bed.
as night.
Black, just black.
Black as night.
What's like the like ounces? Is there like a certain sweet spot he hits?
I think he seems like, Pikachu seems sort of like an 8 to 10 cup a day kind of guy. I don't know. I know there's a moment in the movie where he says it makes his tummy bad.
Yeah, it gets a little bit, but it's okay. It does it to all of us. It's
right,
fine.
totally.
There's no judgment.
Totally.
So with Pikachu, obviously, I mean, he's chugging coffee. He's mouthy as like all get out, which is just perfect for me. I just wanted to like ask, like, how much of an influence did you have on like what the personality would be like of Pikachu being just such an eccentric little fella who I love?
I think they hired me for some of that, you know? I mean, a whole bunch of us took passes at the script. I also took a pass at the script. So, you know, we all got to kind of shape it the way we wanted. I got to make sure that the voice sort of worked the way I think it could work for me. I mean, inevitably I'm at the mercy of the filmmakers, so, but it's motion capture, so it's all imagination. You go into a room, I'm alone basically, I'm doing all this, you know, I have tracking dots all over my body, tracking suit, that kind of stuff. And then it's just throwing like 800 versions of any joke or any moment up against a wall and leaving it to some poor editor to sort of sort through and figure out. And that's kind of how it worked. I did that for about a year, off and on, just going into the booth. And, you know, some things would come out probably a little PG-13, bordering on rated R. So that stuff didn't make it, but there's the great thing about this world is that you can be totally edgy and totally push it and still stay within the boundaries of a movie that you could take little kids to and adults. So that's always the trick.
Yes, this is absolutely something kids and my age and older would want to see. But now I'm just curious, like, what is your ideal rated R Pikachu movie? Because like,
My
what do you
ideal
like?
rated R
Ideal, like,
Pikachu
what do you think
movie.
he's doing? Because like, he's like, come on, like, what do you think he'll be doing?
I think if you could like remake like a Pikachu sort of version of Mean Streets, that might be kind of fun.
Man, I mean, I could never
Like,
look at Pokemon the same way.
Say what?
I mean, like, that's the reboot, I think.
Or
we're all
Goodfellas?
meeting. Ooh, hot take. I appreciate it. Bold
That'd be fun.
strategy.
Yeah.
Yes. So kind of moving forward with how this franchise could move, because this is an entire universe, Bill. I have never like felt like, oh yeah, I could totally just see like a Charmander walking up to me, but now
Yeah.
I expect it. What do you think like the floodgates of Pokemon could do in live action? I know you said you were surprised that a franchise like this hadn't been brought into the live action world, and this has such a heart and story to it, very heartfelt. Where do you think this could go next? Because I spoke with Justice about it, and
Yeah.
he's ready for like a 6-film deal about him like beating the Elite Four from the
Wow.
Pokemon games.
Nice.
And like, I'm gonna buy everyone and be in the front row.
Yeah, I think so too. Justice, first off, is just an amazing actor and such a great anchor for this whole. He really is the kind of moral compass and moral center piece of the series and the film. But I don't know, he could go anywhere. I don't, Justice is, and you have probably forgotten more about Pokemon than I'll ever know. So, I think if we're lucky enough to be making a bunch of these things, I think you got to take some deep dives, and you also have to, zig when everyone thinks you're going to zag. So, and that starts with story and making it different and fun, especially because I'm surprised this hasn't been developed earlier because it's such a universe. I mean, there's like you could really see that just going in all kinds of different directions with different, but even ones without Pikachu, you could see there's so many, so we'll see.
Over the Mother's Day weekend, Avengers Endgame stayed on top of the box office in its third weekend, despite a pretty solid effort from Detective Pikachu. Endgame took in an estimated $63 million this weekend, while the first live-action Pokemon movie managed to pull in $58 million. This put Endgame at more than $723 million domestically and a $2.485 billion worldwide haul so far, leaving it just a little more than $300 million worldwide away from Avatar's $2.787 billion record. It's going to be a grind now for Endgame to be the biggest movie of all time, but Endgame does have a shot. If you're going to see it again, go do that and send us pictures. Use hashtag ComicBook NOW, Comic Book Nation. And if more videos like this one from Robert Downey Jr.'s Instagram page keep popping up, the stars are doing this left and right, there might be a chance to get more and more people to the movies to watch Endgame. Check this out.
Mr. Stark! Oh my god! Holy cow! You will not believe what's been going on. Do you remember that we were in space just a minute ago? And then I like vanished and what's all that gray stuff in your hair?
It's just gray hair.
Oh, it's okay. I'm sorry. Anyway, Dr. Strange was there when I got back, right? And he gave us this big briefing on how to... What are you doing? You must be doing a really long
We have a hot topic from the rumor mill. Now Idris Elba is apparently playing Deathstroke in Suicide Squad. How about that? I don't believe it. Originally, he was supposed to take Will Smith's place as Deadshot. Then the rumors pointed to Bronze Tiger, who was introduced in the books, which have apparently inspired James Gunn's upcoming movie. But then people started saying Sportsmaster and then Deathstroke. And these come as a result of someone somewhere hearing that Elba's character will have a daughter. Speculation is both fun and frustrating, so I'm going to leave it to you in the Comic Book Now comment section to let us know who you hope Elba is playing in Suicide Squad. Or we can just wait until Warner Brothers actually says something and we finally get some DC news, because we've been talking about Marvel a lot and it's been a long time. And who's going to play Batman? For now, let's take a look at the new trailer for Spider-Man Far From Home.
The Spider-Man Far From Home trailer is about to play, but if you haven't seen Avengers Endgame yet, stop watching because there's some serious spoilers about to come up. But if you have seen Avengers Endgame, enjoy the trailer. Everywhere I go, I see his face. I just really miss him.
Yeah, I miss him too.
I don't think Tony would have done what he did if he didn't know that you were going to be here after he was gone.
You gonna be the next Iron Man now?
Well, no, I don't have time. I'm too busy doing your jobs. What? I'm kidding. Look, keep up the good work because I am going on vacation.
Heads up, Nick Fury's calling you.
I don't really want to talk to Nick
Answer
Fury.
the phone.
Why?
Because if you don't talk to him, then I have to talk to him. I don't want to talk to him. You sent Nick Fury to voicemail?
I gotta go.
You do not ghost Nick Fury.
What up, dorks? What's up? We're just talking about the trip.
I'm here in St. Marco Polo's. Oh,
I think MJ really likes me.
that reminds me when I first fell in love.
You're a very difficult person to contact, Spider-Man. This is Mr. Beck.
We could have used someone like you on my world.
Your world?
Beck is from Earth, just not ours. The snap to our hole in our dimension.
You're saying there's a multiverse?
We have a job to do, and you're coming with us.
There's gotta be someone else you can use. What about Thor?
Off-world.
Captain Marvel? Unavailable. But I'm just a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Bitch, please, you've been to space.
What do you want, Peter?
I want to go back on my trip with the girl who I really like and tell her how I feel. MJ, I
am Spider-Man.
No, of course I'm not.
I mean, it's kind of obvious.
You're right, you may not be ready, but this is my responsibility. Saving the world requires sacrifice. Sometimes people die.
Oh my God.
I just always feel like I'm putting my friends in danger. The world needs the next Iron Man.
You're going to step up or not?
I work with Spider-Man. You work for Spider-Man? I work with Spider-Man, not for Spider-Man. New plan.
Comics and this big, crazy villain that's going to be very powerful and all that exciting stuff. And then none of that happened.
No.
Here's the thing. I understand that Mysterio being a liar and all these things would be staying true to the comics, but my problem is that if you advertise this movie as a movie that's going to introduce the multiverse and introduce all these big things in the advertising, and you set an expectation through your ads, then you run the risk of betraying your audience through those lies. I get that that's true to Mysterio, and I hope Mysterio's a liar and a fraud, and I hope he stays true. He's not a hero in the comics. He's introduced as a hero, and he turns out to be a villain. I hope that we are still getting a multiverse.
Well, I think that was kind of already put to rest in Avengers Endgame, because the Ancient One mentions that once the stones come out of, wherever they're supposed to be, it kind of splinters off and creates an alternate universe. So we already have a multiverse technically somewhere out there with Loki taking the Tesseract and disappearing in that 2012 timeline. So I think the idea of a multiverse is true. I think what we're going to probably see in Spider-Man is that Mysterio is lying about being from the multiverse or a character from the multiverse, and instead uses the events of Endgame to kind of craft this persona, and then uses his trickery to project himself as a hero. Sure. When he's actually a villain, which is in line with the character.
Even if he's not from another Earth, that's fine, as long as another Earth now exists, because it does. There are multiple timelines. But the thing is, in this trailer, he already shows one symptom of lying. They say the snap created a multiverse.
Sure.
The multiverse wasn't created in the snap. The multiverse that we know, that we saw in Endgame, was created from timelines being altered.
But...
So, are we talking about alternate timelines, a multiverse? There's a whole bunch of different ways we can do this.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's just the confusing aspects of multiverses and time travel and all those things to begin with.
Look at this. All these people say we better have time. We better have a multiverse. Love the Far From Home trailer. Want to have. Zach Schmidt agrees with Chris Killian. Victor just wants to see Chameleon. And Andrew Hayes. He killed the Mysterio from the other world. Maybe.
Well, he might have, or he might be lying through his teeth.
True.
There's no way to. I could tell you that I killed the other Chris Killian from the multiverse.
Yeah. Well. That's dark.
He was a nice guy too.
Do you think this movie can? How much money do you think this movie can make?
Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not as much as Endgame.
No, but it's definitely a $1 billion movie.
You think so?
I think it's easily a $1 billion movie.
I mean, I'm not a worldwide.
Yeah, worldwide, $1 billion.
At the end of everything, you're talking about
opening weekend.
Blu-ray
I see this
sales
doing
and everything, or just
it could
theater?
come close to $200 million domestically opening weekend.
Sure.
Because the Endgame hype train is just that powerful.
Right.
I think, and people are just also just genuinely interested in Spider-Man with or without Endgame.
Right.
Spider-Man: Homecoming was a huge success.
Oh, sure.
The first Spider-Man.
What did the first Spider-Man didn't hit $1 billion though, did it? Spider-Man:
Tobey
Homecoming.
Maguire.
No,
Homecoming. I don't think so.
I don't
I'm
think
not
it did
sure.
either.
But I could see this movie being a $1 billion movie.
Yeah, I mean, the interest is there, I think, from general audiences now, for sure.
I think people agree. Put a bet on it, says Zach Schmidt. For sure, says Andrew Hayes. Andrew Hayes, not enough Scott Eastwood in this movie for this to be a $2 billion film. Am I right? Anyway, last week, if you guys were missing us last week, that's because we did a show called An Evening with Joe Russo, where we broke down all of Avengers Endgame with the co-director himself. It was really cool. For those of you who watched it, I hope you had a great time. But also, we got a whole bunch of submissions from some of the actors in the Marvel Cinematic Universe who Joe Russo has worked with, some who he hasn't. And they all said thank you. They shared their love for Joe and the Marvel Universe. And we actually showed that video on Game Over An Evening with Joe Russo last Monday night. But we didn't show you Joe's reaction. Someone in the crowd, Ryan Wiltberger, shout out if you're watching, he filmed Joe Russo's reaction. And so I thought if you hadn't seen the video, it'd be cool to see it. But also, if you have, it'd be cool to see Joe watching the video. So check this out.
Oh, hello, Mr. Russo. Yes, much congratulations to you for making biggest film of all cinema. This movie is quite successful and also is very good. Only mistake was probably not including Luis, Dave and Kurt, yours truly, because of course we would have saved and defeated the bad guy so much more fast, but it's okay. Good job.
Whether you're Team Cap or Team Iron Man, you've helped bring these characters to life, and not just as superheroes, but also as people we can connect with and people we can look up to. And for that, we thank you. I am so forever grateful to be a part of this universe. So thank you, Mr. Russo.
Hey Joe, I'm here on set wearing a Big Choice mustache, and I just wanted to take a second to say thank you so much. It's been so great working with you, and Marvel changed my life, and you were a part of that, so thank you.
Joe Russo, I just want to congratulate you on all your achievements in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and as someone who worked with you nearly 10 years ago on Community, you directed Senior Chang's very first episode, and since then I've learned so much from you, and you have taught me so much about pacing, about efficiency, of creative thought, so many things, so many principles that I have learned from you and applied to my own subsequent works, and you're a huge influence on me, and so many people you have worked with owe their careers to you, and I just love you so much as a filmmaker, as a director, as a human being. I've learned so much from you, and congratulations on this night, and much love to you and your family. Mwah.
Hi Joe, this is Ross Marquand. I just want to congratulate you for all the incredible work you've done in the MCU and beyond. I'm so excited to see what you do next, and I'm just really grateful to have worked alongside you and your brother, and I wish you nothing but the best.
Joe Russo, Endgame, breaking all kinds of records. I remember when we started with Winter Soldier, you were just a young tyke, now you're the king of Hollywood. Brother, thank you for bringing me in this Marvel world, keeping me in this Marvel world, even in a small part. I love you, I'm proud of you, and continued success, man. Thank you.
What's up, man? I just wanted to say I love you. You changed the game. You certainly changed my life. I love the movies that we did together. They are going to be forever in my mind and my memory, and I just think you're the man. So thank you for being you and doing what you do, and you deserve everything that you wish for. You know, I hope that comes true, and I love you to death, and I'm here. Whenever you need me, I'm here. You're the man. Bye.
Yo, what's up, Joe Russo, Chris Pratt here. You might not recognize me because I'm not in makeup and I'm covered in sweat, and I'll tell you why, because an actor's job is never complete. That's a drop of sweat right there. They said keep it to 15 seconds. That's already 15 seconds, but I was just supposed to say thank you for what you mean to me. You're extraordinary at fantasy football, and you're a brilliant man with big ideas, follow through, vision. I'm eternally grateful for the way you guys have handled the Avengers, Endgame and Infinity War. Changed all our lives. And like I said, an actor's job, I'm sweating right now because I'm out working, because ultimately I don't work just on my voice and my spirit, but also on my body as a prop. So thank you for puppeteering me into what a lot of people are saying is the greatest performance in history, Star-Lord from Endgame. Later, buddy.
Thank you so much to everybody who submitted and everybody who watched last week, that evening with Joe. You can watch right now. You go YouTube search Game Over Joe Russo. It should be the first thing that comes up on the Comicbook.com YouTube channel. But now, ooh, I hit the camera. That was cool. That's the first.
Yeah.
Let's open up the comment
really?
section. I've never hit the camera before.
Oh,
like that
man.
landed on. You can't see it. Spoiler alert. There's cameras. It landed on top of a camera.
That's pretty
Never done that
impressive. Yeah, the camera seems a lot closer to us today than it normally is, though. So, I don't know.
It's true.
I don't know. We got questions.
Right. Yes.
Let's see. Let's get to them. First off, Andrew wants to know: is there any chance we get a Ronin standalone?
Oh gosh, wasn't Ronin like the best part of Endgame?
I loved Ronin.
I thought Jeremy Renner acted his Hawkeye America's ass off, and I think that Ronin was great. But no, there's no chance. I don't think so. There's too many other movies coming, and I think the Hawkeye TV show already coming to Disney Plus is the closest thing we'll get.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
And that's probably going to follow Kate Bishop more than anything. So I think it'll just be a passing of the torch. And
I think now that his family's back, there's really no reason for him to be Ronin. So.
I also think maybe he'll appear in Black Widow, but not as Ronin, probably as Hawkeye. I think the Black Widow movie, it has to have a surprise up its sleeve. Yeah. It can't just be a prequel. You can't start Phase 4 with a movie nobody asked for.
Yeah.
That's a prequel. I mean, I know it was supposed to be Guardians Volume 3, and everybody expects Black Widow to be like this Budapest kind of movie, I think, because they keep referencing it. Maybe Hawkeye's there. Maybe maybe something happens.
Let's see. Natika wants to know, and I hope I said that right, who will Suicide Squad be fighting in Suicide Squad 2?
I don't know.
We don't even know who Idris Elba is. So
yeah.
There's no. It could be anybody.
I mean, I don't even know how to begin.
It's not going to be Jared Leto.
Wasn't there supposed to be like a whole? Well, they are a rogues gallery. I don't know. I can't even begin to speculate who they might be.
No, it's hard without knowing who the squad is yet. So it's hard to speculate who it's going to be. I mean, we know in Birds of Prey it's Black Mask. So.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe he shows up
No.
or nah, I don't know.
Probably not.
I don't know. I'm just throwing out options for you to bounce off of here. But thanks.
I don't know. I wish I could give you a better answer than that. I just don't have one.
Don wants to know, do you think MCU has room for the X-Men and Fantastic Four? Yeah.
I think we'll see the Fantastic Four first. I think we were supposed to see the Fantastic Four maybe already very soon. I think Phase 4 will have the Fantastic Four in it. That's what I think.
Oh, I think so too.
Absolutely.
100%.
I don't think we'll see the X-Men for a long time.
No, I think after Dark Phoenix, it's probably gonna be the last we see of the X-Men.
They still have New Mutants on the release schedule.
I'm not talking
I don't know why.
That's not.
I don't know why. But the X-Men won't join the MCU till 2023. Fantastic Four in the next 3 years.
Zach wants to know, do you think Thor will get back into shape for the new Guardians? 100%. Yes. In fact, I want to see Thor and Star-Lord working. Like, I want to see a workout montage between the two of them, seeing who can get back in shape quicker. And I want them to do it for Gamora. I want there to be a love triangle. Why? Why can't I like these things and hope for these things?
The Fat Thor story.
You just said it this morning that it was coming. It was like growing
pulls
on
you out. Like in the first 40 minutes of Endgame, you see the stakes being introduced and everything's very serious and there's jokes and there's humor. But then you get to Fat Thor and it
what's
just pulls
not
me
serious
out.
about depression, huh, Brandon?
They made it a joke, Chris. So.
It wasn't a joke.
Well, you laughed the whole time.
Well, that's because I laugh at inappropriate stuff.
So that backfired, didn't it? I mean, look, I saw Endgame for the 4th time. I took my mom on Mother's Day to see Endgame again. And I thought, now that I know everything from the movie and I don't have to process and investigate everything that's happening, I can just enjoy it. And I thought Fat Thor wasn't that bad, but I just didn't. I thought that Fat Thor was such a over-the-top joke the first time you see the movie that it almost removes you from the stakes of the film.
You look like melted ice cream is the zinger of the whole movie. That's a great line.
It's a good joke.
That's a great line.
It's a good joke.
All right, one last question.
All right, one last question.
All right, Jay wants to know, could the series finale save Game of Thrones?
Yes.
I think so too.
I don't think Game of Thrones is like in need of saving. See, I think it could be remembered as like, oh, that show was really good.
But then it kind of let me down.
It could also, if this series finale is terrible, we could be like, yeesh, that was whack. Look, I'm a huge Lost fan.
Yeah.
I'll defend Lost till the end of time. Chris knows this. We've had this conversation before today's show. I love the ending of Lost. I love it. I think the biggest reason people don't like the ending of Lost is because they didn't understand it. I think that if Game of Thrones gives you an ending that people hate the way they hated the Lost ending, that's all.
But
people,
it's kind of like I said to you though. Yeah, with Lost for me, I know you love Lost and that you've gone back and revisited Lost multiple times and you found reasons to appreciate that ending. But me, I saw Lost. I saw the finale one time. And I've never gone back and rewatched it, so maybe I could go back and rewatch it and would re-like it.
Did you understand what happened at the end of Lost?
Yes, I did.
What happened?
They're all dead.
No, they weren't.
They seem all dead to me.
Classic.
Okay,
That's my
but
point.
I'm not the only one that came away with that assumption. But the point being is that what I came away with.
Did you understand the rules of time travel in Endgame?
Nobody understood the rules
Boom.
of time travel in Endgame.
The Hulk explained the rules of time travel. Christian Shepherd explained the ending of Lost. You didn't get either of them. Guys. What is he doing?
He's just so much smarter than all of us, guys. Sorry.
I'll bet you. Hold on, wait. Let's see. Zach is just mad that we hated on Arrow. It'll be another Soprano ending.
All I'm saying is that like, if you lose somebody right away with that one viewing, and they come away being like, oh yeah, it was really, the show was great, but then that ending disappointed me. They might not ever go back and revisit.
The only way you remember The Sopranos is by that ending.
Yeah.
You know.
I didn't even watch The Sopranos, so I don't know.
Well. I think the finale will make or break Game of Thrones. I don't think this season has been great. I think it all comes down to the finale at this point.
Yeah, I think the Game of Thrones people at this point are probably like, well, we got our money, so whatever, sucker.
All right, everybody, that is the show we do every Monday at 1 p.m. 2 p.m. Eastern Time, called Comic Book Now, if you weren't sure, based on this logo behind us. That's Chris Killian, if you weren't sure, based on the logo behind him. And I am Brandon Davis. Look, I can touch it. Guys, hit us up anytime using hashtag Comic Book Now. Watch our comic book. Watch and listen to our Comic Book Nation podcast, available where all major podcasts are available. And be sure to stay tuned to comicbook.com. I have to say all that. No, I don't. I did anyway. Bye, everybody.